Good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Good.
I'm glad everyone's here. I don't know how many of you knew what we were going to talk about today, and that's why you were on or just showed up. Either way, I love it, but I think it's going to be a great conversation today. So, where we left off last week, we've been talking about pricing, right? That's so key right now in this crazy market. I was just telling some of the guys as I got on, have a sphere. I'm very rarely involved with transactions, but for whatever reason, they're kind of pouring in right now. So I'm having to help. And I've been getting into comps and stuff a lot lately. And so I'm totally living all of this and I get it. And all of the strategies still work. So, number one, okay, on pricing, sorry, let me go here. Where we were last week was talking about price reductions and how to get price reductions. And Anna asked a great question at the end that we're going to role play through. Okay. And how many of you find yourself in the position of being told or feeling like, right? Because both are important, that you've picked a price and it's not selling for that. Okay. Yep. It happens, right? So here's the number one thing. The thing that keeps you up at night is, how can I get this house sold, right? All this kind of stuff. You know the answer, and you know the answer is price, right? So the key is to make sure you are talking about price from day one. Price is your marketing strategy. That's all it is. Price is your marketing strategy. And what marketing strategy would you like to pick for this price? Take it back to the grocery store, right? When people need to get rid of things, what do? They reduce the price, right? When they're testing the market, they might put it at an average price, see what people are willing to play with it a little bit, right? So think about that. Get them thinking like consumers do, right? And that is price. Price for your house is also the marketing strategy you want that ties to the market and your goals. So we have three things that have to all work together, right? Number one, what are your goals to sell this property? Number two, what market are we facing to do that in? Right now, it's more complicated than ever. There is not a blanket statement. You are in a seller's market or you are in a buyer's market. You've got to be studying those. And it is different neighborhood to neighborhood and sometimes even section to section within a neighborhood. It is that specific. You have to know your products. You have to know your markets. Okay, study those. Market updates every Monday is how you do that, whether you're sending them to your clients or not. You've got to be studying the market updates every single Monday in the script book and do them for yourself. Okay, a buyer update and a seller update every single week to give you an idea what's happening. Okay, and those going out to your sellers are going to help this whole conversation. Okay, so we are going to role play this. Anna, she may have to leave and get in her car, so we're going to switch to someone else when we need that. But where I want you to start is at that question. And then as we role play this, I want you to have a seller in mind, if you would, and then kind of walk through where they were, right? So use their person to answer the questions as I ask you this stuff, because we don't have any common data. We didn't pick a house, so let's just kind of see where this goes. Cool? Okay. So go ahead and ask me your question. She's the seller, I'm the realtor.
So, Julie, we just had this showing that came through and we got the feedback for it. And they're
Yep.
telling us that we're too high priced. How do you feel about
I
that?
know. Yeah. I mean, remember when we started, right? One of the things we were going to use once we decided the price and the strategy we wanted was to see if we were getting showings and if we were getting offers, right? Sorry, you went to feedback. I'm going to go, let's stay
You're,
just with feedback actually,
okay.
because, right? So, yeah. And what do you think the feedback is telling us when they say that we're too overpriced?
Well, I mean, I've looked at the comps that you have given me.
Okay. Yep.
I see what's in the marketplace and I know what I want to sell my house for. And I feel
Hmm.
confident in the price
Yeah.
that we're at, but we're not seeing
Okay.
anything
Yeah.
back.
So here's what's happening. We're seeing a lot of houses come on the market, and we're also seeing a lot of houses go under contract, right? So what that tells me as the agent, as I'm looking at that, what I'm seeing is there are active buyers out there that are willing to write offers and willing to put a good amount of money down on a house, right? We want to be one of those houses, right?
Yes.
So something's happening, yes, that is causing those buyers that are out there looking at everything else to pick those and not ours. That is where we have to focus. How do we position this house so that the next three buyers want to make an offer on it? Now let's look at the competition the next three buyers are going to look at. Okay, so here's what's currently active on the market right now. And I'd literally take them through how do you stack up with it. Okay,
Okay.
so in the beginning, when we priced it, we did the same thing, right? We looked at the active. So you're going to pick your range. Here's where I think we might be. Okay, so I had one yesterday, Fisher's between 530 and 550. And how I decided where it should be in there, I went and looked at our competition. And guess what? At 550, we cannot compare. They are beautiful. They are updated. They are fresher. They are newer. We are bigger. We have a walkout basement. We have a better lot, but we cannot compare at 550. Guess what? We blow them out of the water at 530. Okay. And when you lay those out, they can see it. Right.
Okay.
And you may have to talk them through where is ours better than this one? Where is ours less than this one? Okay. So if you were the buyer and these were your three choices, which one would you pick first? And what would have to happen to ours to make you pick ours first?
Okay.
Okay. Did that help? So you got to continually bring them back, okay, to the beginning. And you got to re-walk them through. That's the reason we're sending them the new actives every single day or every single week. The new actives every Monday. And we're showing them how many buyers actually wrote offers last week. That means there is a market and you have missed it. Okay. Here's the second thing. You want to take them back to what was our strategy when we first started, Anna? You said your goal was to be out of here by when?
By the summer.
Okay, great. And are you starting to panic yet? Is it feeling like we need an offer quickly to still make that goal happen?
Yeah, because everybody else is selling and we're not. So why are we
Okay.
being picked over?
Yeah, I love that question. Okay, and let's actually look at it. Okay, so number one, when we picked our pricing strategy, we knew we were going exactly at what we thought was market value, right? Okay, and do you remember what we looked at? If we priced it at market value, what did we expect to happen?
We were expecting to offer that first weekend.
Okay, so why do you think we didn't get one?
Probably because I have no idea. I'm not the expert, Julie. You are.
Okay. So remember when we priced it, I said we don't have a crystal ball, right? We're going to do our very best to price it. And then we're going to have to use what the market's telling us to make a direction, to go one way or another, right? So this market smashed that crystal ball, right? We thought if we were at market value, we'd get probably 60% of the buyers, and we hope to have an offer in the first 7 days, right? And we're past that. So here's what we've had. Remember when we talked about also in this market, it's taking about 9 showings to get an offer. Okay. And we've had 16. I'm going to guess that's what's happening in this market. Was that the case? Is that you're having lots of showings, no offers, or no
Yeah,
showings?
no showings.
Okay. So what we expected is when we hit the market exactly right, we expected 16 showings in the first 7 days. How many did we have?
One.
Yeah. So I think we missed our market, unfortunately. So now we got to get back in it. So now let's regroup and talk about, right? We can go back to the feedback. We can go back to the market currently. We can go back and then we say, okay, so how important is it to you, right? We're running out of time. The way I see it is if you want to be there, I do the math backwards, right? By the end of August, whatever that timeline was, I see that we've got about the next 24 days to get an offer in our hand, right? Okay, so now let's look at how can we do that? What do you think? What kind of offer would you be willing to take to get this property sold in the next 24 days?
I mean, I don't want to reduce it very much
And I'd probably
because
say 7 days or 3 days. Honestly, 24 was too long. I was trying to think 2 weeks, like 14, but no, don't give them that long. Sorry.
no,
So,
you're good.
okay. So, what would you, to get an offer in the next 3 days and know this property is under contract and we have a set closing date to get you out of here by summer, what would that look like?
I mean, I felt like I was at the very top, or yeah, at the top of my bottom line when we priced the house. So there's
Yeah.
not a whole lot of wiggle room that I want to.
Okay. So then we kind of have a different question.
Okay.
So, what happens if we can't get it sold for your price?
Everyone, this is why I love Julie. She pivots so easily, so quickly, but it's because she practices the scripts. Um,
It
that's a
really
really good.
is, right? Like I know right where to take you. Yeah. Okay. But go ahead.
Sorry, I just had to give you kudos for that. Um,
Thanks.
I just, I mean, I don't want to be in Indiana anymore. So I guess we got to price it to sell it in the next couple of days.
Yeah. So here's what could have happened, right? We could have started in a market and it shifted on us, and now the market has passed us. So it is possible that this market has shifted and we just can't accomplish that goal anymore. So we do always have the option to just sit tight and wait for the market to catch up.
Okay.
Okay. So that's for sure an option. However, what it sounds like is that it sounds like you would rather do the other and kind of get it to a price that we can get it gone and go ahead and make the move.
Yeah,
Okay. So
I
let's
think that's the
talk
better
about that
choice.
then. Okay. My goal is not to get you to your bottom dollar. Okay. But my goal is to get us to the price that the market will see it. They will come in, they will want to see it on paper and say, that looks like a great house. We want to come inside. And right now, I think our price is deterring them. They're laying it out with everything else. And they're saying that looks like a great house, but it's at the top of our budget. That looks like a great house, but these other five are underpriced.
Okay.
Okay, so that would be our goal. We want to get them coming in the house. So we got to keep moving. And once we hit that price, we're going to know because we're going to see showings. I don't know what that price is. Okay. So this is where you and I are going to have to be real honest if we got to shift because we're in the wrong market and this is too uncomfortable and we can't do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Fantastic.
What do you guys hear? Let's kind of that was a lot, so let's kind of
Debrief.
summarize so you can take some notes. Yep, debrief. What'd you hear? What'd you take note of? I got a lot of people on screen. Help me out.
It's real easy if you like remind them of their motivation, right? So
Mhm.
that's your big bat. Like, okay, so what's the goal? The goal is to get out of Indiana by
Yep.
a specific amount of time. How are we going to achieve that
Mhm.
goal? Here's what the data is telling us. What do you think your house would sell for? If we need to get it under contract in the next 7 days, what do you think the price should be based on its condition and your competition and what the data is telling us?
So there's your post-it, right? There's your post-it. The three things you got to know, right? We went through them. Their motivation, the market, and the strategy to accomplish their goals. Write that down in front of you. Write it on your listing presentations, right? Write it, have it on your computer. Have it in front of you when you're talking to every seller. Until this is burnt into your soul, I want it written everywhere in your world. Okay. And this stuff sounds like the silliest part, but I'm telling you, it's the brain conditioning that this silly little post it does. Okay. And see how it changes. If you are struggling with pricing and price reductions, keep going back to that. Okay. Because the script book will walk you through how to start at the very beginning from the first conversation you have with every potential seller and position it that way. Here's what's going to be our strategy. We're going to identify your goals to sell. We're going to study the current market and what market you're in. And then we're going to discuss the strategy that will get you sold. That is the script of what you're doing for them. Okay. So it's exactly right. And see how that same three things. So I went into Chat GPT. If anyone would like for me to share this with you, I'm happy to. But let me show you. I went into Chat GPT and I said, if I were asked the question um, that Anna asked, if I were asked the question, where would I go in the script book and where would I start to position this from the very beginning? Okay. So it literally went and broke it all down for every place in the script book where you need to start, what happens before the listing presentation, during the presentation, and after the presentation. Okay, so a great way to use AI and this script book. If you're working on a conversation, upload it into your AI and start asking it questions about it. I'm struggling with getting a price reduction. Help me through that conversation based on the scripts in this book. Okay, it's awesome. Then I asked it to summarize, and I'll get this out to all of you guys, but summarize the script and the page it's on. So I just love to play with this thing. But that's great. If you had this out in front of you all the time when you're having your price conversations, it's going to tell you exactly where to jump to in the book for whatever you're trying to talk about. Okay? So let AI help you with some of this kind of stuff as well. And then I will get this all out to you because I want you guys to have it laid out in a really nice pattern as far as how the script book walks you exactly through how to position, how to price, how to find the motivation, and do that entire strategy. Okay, what questions?
So let's say you have a seller who just wants to test the market and they want to list high. So their motivation really isn't there, right?
Yep. Yes.
So do you take this listing or no? Or just try to get them?
You.
It's up to me.
Yep, that's up to you. So let's talk through that. Let's do a poll. Okay, how high, Connie? Let's talk about that first because that might make a difference. Let me ask a few questions.
Yeah.
Where should it be and where do they want to list it?
Yeah. The neighborhood, most of the latest sales are $650. They want me to list it for $790.
No. Okay. That makes a huge difference, right? So I'm glad we started with that question. Yeah.
You would think so, but this was an actual scenario and I got multiple offers the first day. So it's like...
Okay. So then something weird was happening there because that's super unusual that a house would go for 100 and list for 140 more. Something might have been off. Did you walk it and stuff and like compare it with everything?
Well, their house was definitely better. They did update. They had like an architect come and redo stuff. And we had music playing and all kinds of fun things. So
well, let's look at that one on a specific situation. But let's talk about that. Okay. So if we know it's $650 and they want to price it at $699, maybe, right? That might be a conversation I'm willing to have, but I really want to talk about where they're going. How likely is that in this market, right? We're in this weird window where, it might bid up right now. So I'd be more likely to test it depending on where they are, than normal. So that's the first thing, right? Is number one, how unrealistic are they? The more unrealistic they are, the more you got to fight that battle, right? And get them realistic. So, and then you got to take it all kind of back to that, right? What's our strategy? Now, there is a huge strategy in pricing low. And you guys, I'm seeing it everywhere right now and having a lot of sellers even ask about that, or a lot of buyers ask about that. It seems like that property's priced low. Yes, and watch what happens to it, right? When they're pricing it right, it's going over, right? And buyers are much more willing to just throw money at you and waive inspections and that when they're calling the shots versus doing what you want them to do and paying your price you've chosen, right? You guys all know that mentality. So yeah, that's really your business decision. So let's kind of do a 50-50. If $650 was the price and they wanted $790, how many of you would take it? I probably wouldn't. Yep. Now, who knows? Could have missed it, but I need to see more on it to see if there was something missing in that market that I might have been missing or something, but my gut would have been probably not. It would have taken a lot of conversation to truly understand why they thought that was where they needed to be. But if it was 650 to 699, how many of you might have taken it? Yeah. Okay. So that makes a huge difference, right? How unrealistic are they? Then you've got to know what kind of market you're selling in, right? So the second thing I'd go to, if this 650 and they were at 699 and it was in a market I want to be in and I think I can sell it, I'm going to take it. If it's in a market I want to be in and I think I can't sell it, I'm not going to take it. Okay, so that's my determining factor is, can I get this property sold? If I can sell it and I feel confident about that, then I'll normally take it. And you guys know when they're picking a price that you're like, I just can't sell this for that, right?
Yep. Can I ask another?
Okay. Of course.
Okay.
And anyone else, get them lined up.
All right. What do you do when you have a buyer that's right on the border? They're in Indianapolis, but Carmel's on the other side of the street. I can't go to Carmel to pick comps, right? I have to only go, yeah.
I mean, you can, but then you also have to compare what the average difference is on the values and adjust accordingly. Because different schools, it's different taxes, it's different street maintenance, it's different everything. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a completely different financial structure on the other side of the street.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you guys all agree, though? Let's ask all the experts to just make sure I don't ever mislead.
I try and stay within the school district.
Yep. Same.
Because you're more accurate that way. And that's what that appraiser lady said at the class last week or whatever. So.
Yep, that's a really good determining first. But again, sometimes you have to go out and then just take the adjustment. And what I recommend on the adjustment, so this one I'd use Carmel versus Indy. I'd get kind of like houses, and I'd take the last 5 years and just a general average over the last 5 years, what's just the ballpark average for a ranch in Carmel versus a ranch in Indy around the square feet. Okay, it's a very general number, but what it's going to show you is Carmel's average is here, Indy's is here. What's that percentage difference? What's the percentage difference they're selling? That's what you'll see. Okay, and then you can say, so if we comped it with these houses that are in Carmel, this means we are going to either be 15 higher or 15 lower, right? Because the market's telling us. So we can comp it with that, but then we have to adjust for our area. Okay, that adjustment thing also works when you're looking at like on water, not water, on a park, not on a park, on a busy road, not on a busy road, right? You can take the averages on both sides of those streets for the last 5 years and just see what's the percentage difference those are selling. That makes a huge difference when you're pricing properties and when you're writing offers. Okay, so use that. All right, awesome. Keep asking questions, pricing, and getting reductions. What are you struggling with? What are you getting hit with?
What do you do when I have 2 listings in Shelby County and they just voted in a data center, and that has everybody in an uproar? Literally, people are throwing their house up. They're moving out the county. Okay. What do you do?
What are buyers thinking about it? I'm not worried about sellers, what sellers are thinking about it, right? Because sellers are acting emotionally and panicking and all that kind of stuff. They need to get to the clarity of why they're actually leaving. Is there someplace better they want to go, right? You need to concentrate on what are the buyers worried about, and then how do you overcome that objection for your potential buyer pool? Okay. And what's that conversation? This is a good one to have because it's happening in a lot of places right now. Anyone talk to some buyers about what they're concerned about? Okay. Rhonda, I jump in ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And say, if I'm selling a house near a data center, what are buyers going to be concerned about? How can I position this to relieve those objections, worries, concerns? And then if you have, so you have the 2 sellers, are they just considering, like they've panicked and kind of called you and said, I think we need to sell because this is happening?
No, total different reasons. One is moving out of state. Husband's already there. Wife's trying to get there. And
Okay.
then the other one, if they're living in a huge 5-bedroom, 2-story house, and she has lost her eyesight, so they need to
Okay.
get to a ranch. So total different reasons, but
There we go. And the message to the community when these two houses list is going to be they're running from the data center. You've got to tell everyone, no, they're not. Just because a house lists near the data center doesn't mean that's why they're moving. This person's moving because they plan to downsize, and this person had a health issue that's causing them to move, right? That's an important message out to the market, because that is what everyone's going to think. Every for sale sign that goes up anywhere near there, it's going to be they're moving because of that, and it's going to cause a stir. So you be in charge of that message. You may have to say that weekly while these data centers are being built, right? Why are people moving near the data centers? Nothing to do with the data center, because life happens, because health happens, because all the reasons people move. Yep. So that's good. But I'd use chat for that. Yeah.
Do you feel like we have to have some disclosure around data centers? Like within a mile of an airport, or now I'm within a mile of a
Yeah.
data center. I mean, I
I'm
see
staying
that
out of
changing,
that.
right?
Probably. That's IAR. Yep.
But
Yep. Don't.
as a listing specialist, and if we're selling a property that's gonna, like, a data
I
center,
would. But here's my take on all of it. This
disclose.
is Julie Downey. Yes, Julie Downey. I want confident buyers with zero questions walking in that property. And if that is going to be a question they're going to find a week after acceptance, I'm not dealing with that. So I want them to know absolutely everything they need to know about this property before they write an offer, because I'm not risking that thing falling apart because they find a data center. That's me. That's the way I do mine. You can do whatever you can. But yes, I believe in disclose, disclose, disclose. Yeah. But do whatever you want. It's up to your sellers, right? So that's the other thing. I would explain that to my sellers. Here's why I would. Here's why I think it brings a more confident buyer. Here's why I think it might make our offer stronger and our ability to closing stronger, but it's up to you. If you don't want to, right? I want you to know we might still have that. We could accept an offer and then have them walk away if they find out a week later. Are you willing to take that risk? And if you are, great, right? It's up to you. So we got to remember that too. Yeah, Connie.
Mr. Chill is wanting to know if you get the seller to do an appraisal. We don't have to tell the buyers, right? That
No.
what it can, yeah. I told them.
No. And appraisals are super subjective.
Okay.
Right? So you could have appraiser come in at 10 and an appraiser come in at 2 and get a totally different value. It also depends on what they're doing it for. Are they doing it for a refi? Are they doing it for a purchase? Are they doing it for I mean, it just, so there are agents. I coach one that insists on every person having a pre-inspection and an appraisal, right? To eliminate any questions. Again, a more confident buyer, right? And there are some times that another appraiser comes in and it changes. So you just got to kind of take it how you do. But no, if you've had an appraisal, you do not have to disclose that price that you came up with, because that was for your research only. And that's just one data point of many that you might use to value a property. Good question. What else? Good job. This has been a good conversation. I hope you guys think so too. Okay, what else on pricing right now? Okay. How are you on condition conversations? Telling them their house is dirty, ugly.
I pay $150 to have the home
Have
stager
someone else
come
tell them.
over, and she gives the bad news and
Great.
suggests what they should do. So it works out great.
Great. So that's a great strategy, right? You either need someone else who's empowered to do it for you, or empower yourself to be able to have those conversations with kindness. So that's why I was asking if you could use some skill on that. How do I talk people over their weirdness and their specificities on their house? Throw it in the chat box, and we can absolutely role play that. Okay, keep thinking pricing. This is going to continue to be an issue as we go, and as we're getting houses listed, as we're getting houses sold, and as this market is going over the summer with the war and everything else. Okay, so keep throwing them my way. We'll keep handling them here together. And then I'll see you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye, everybody.